had the worst quality of life. I wish I only had PCOS, but I have a ton of health issues. Since I was 13, I started birth control. Since I was like 21, I never had a natural cycle. They were always synthetically induced or it was missing. As I got older, my symptoms got a little bit more severe. I started to have so many visible symptoms that were preventing me from getting work. I never took care of myself and suddenly my body just broke and I developed hypothyroidism and my hair started to fall. Lucas picked me up and he finally found an endocrinologist. She ran the most comprehensive hormone panel test. I go to my follow-up appointment with the biggest smile. So she told me, you have to accept where you are today. This is your new set point body weight. This is your reality. A year later, I went back to see her at my follow-up appointment. I was a completely different person. This is where I had a life-changing moment and I said, I need to share my story. I had our first batch of product, we sold out in like 90 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And then after that was 30 seconds and we couldn't meet demand. Helping women understand the world through a different lens because perspective is everything.
I'm Leana Diab. This is Being Human. I'm glad you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Being Human. I am sitting with, honestly, such an amazing woman. I feel honestly so honored because she has been through so much in her life. And honestly, I am going to dive into everything today. And I would say that the first thing that I really want to start off with is your PCOS journey, because there are so many women that struggle with PCOS and symptoms that even women don't really know, like where it's coming from, what they're going through. And so I kind of just want to start with, what even is PCOS?
Yeah. No, thank you. First of all, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for coming on.
I get like very emotional with these introductions because it's in my entire journey. Obviously, we're going to get into what PCOS is.
Yeah.
But it's been so healing to find a community of women online and get to meet you in person. And it's a huge part of one of the reasons why I've healed. Yes, I went through a quite transformative health journey with my body and my symptoms.
Yeah.
But there's a part of mental health that is pivotal. And again, meeting women like you.
I know we met at the Forbes 30 Under 30 event. It was like a natural interaction. Like we came up to each other and when you just like meet someone and you're just like energy kind of this like, clicks. It was honestly like that, but continue, sorry.
No, absolutely. And I'm sure you've had probably the same experience with your community. And it's like always like, again, this introduction just like pinched me, I get to be here. We get to empower and help so many women. Yeah. And in a way, they also heal us. So it's beautiful. I love women. So PCOS, it's one of the funny things about PCOS is that I was recently trying to look for like an appropriate definition, right? Because everybody always asks me, what is PCOS?
Yeah.
And so I went online and I was like, okay, let me look at the Mayo Clinic.
And what is the Mayo Clinic for people that don't know?
It's like the most reputable website and clinic for, well, the way that I know it, definitely people know for different reasons. It's like when you have very complex diseases or you have like a health problem that nobody can diagnose, you go to the Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
They are the experts. So I went online and I was like, okay, what is PCOS? Let me look at all the literature that they may have. And the first sentence was, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, is a hormonal disorder that happens during your reproductive years.
Okay.
I'm like, that is incredibly vague.
Yeah.
But they go into obviously describing the disease. And so PCOS, polycystic ovarian disease or syndrome, there's a Rotterdam criteria where you have to meet 2 of the 3 criteria.
Okay.
Anovulation, so irregular cycles, you're not ovulating, cysts on your ovaries, or high amounts of androgen. And that can show up as hirsutism, facial hair, acne, and there's a plethora of symptoms that have to do with PCOS. So that's like the classic way that people like to define it.
Yeah.
But in my experience, that's very difficult to diagnose.
Yeah.
Because also I was speaking to some doctors and the typical phenotype of a PCOS patient is usually heavily represents that. And they have male pattern balding as well. And they have, I really, really feel for these women and they have a lot of facial hair and also body hair. And so that's a very classic case that you can get diagnosed quite quickly, right? And they're usually insulin resistant. And you can tell quite quickly if you're on those, no, I wouldn't say extremes. I don't think it's the appropriate word. But if you look like the typical phenotype of a PCOS patient, you'll get your diagnosis. But if you are a Mexican girl that I'm on the lean side of PCOS, and you go to the doctor because you're like, hey, doctor, so There's a thing that I also overheard somebody speaking about. Nowadays, more and more young women are going through puberty early. And I got my period when I was in lower school. I was in 5th grade. So I think I was 10 or 11. And I remember, and I was like calling my mom and I was crying. I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And my mom was like, what do I do? Like this is very early, but it's fine. You go to the doctor, then I start to have acne again in lower school. I remember I would go into like the little hand washing stations and I would ask the teacher, hey, can I please go out, like take a bathroom break? And I would take the hand soap and wash my face.
Oh my gosh.
All the girls around me, also growing up in Dallas.
Obviously, and you were from Mexico.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Mexico. I didn't even know English.
Oh, okay. So you're going through all these different emotions at the time.
I mean, I was in 5th grade at the time. I remember, I believe I came in like the middle of the year in 2nd grade. My family moved in a very rushed manner, but because of the public school system, even though I didn't speak like proper English, they just had to accept me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Kids are sponges, and I immediately like started to learn it. And after by the end of my 2nd school year, by the end of 2nd grade, I was up to speed. But all these beautiful, beautiful classmates of mine, they were like blonde and they didn't have these eyebrows. I came out of the womb with eyebrows. And so it was weird. And I also, it's not that it was weird. I felt like an alien, right? And then I started to grow a mustache. And it was, you have some like vellus hair and it's like thin and it's okay. That can be absolutely genetic.
Yeah.
But mine started to come in thicker and I started to have some like thick facial hair on my sideburns and also on my chin and also on my cheeks. And this is where I haven't heard anybody talk about this. And I saved this so we could talk about it together. But the courage that it takes for a little girl to go to a doctor and say, I'm really embarrassed that I have facial hair. I don't understand why I'm bleeding and all these other women are not, or all these young girls, right? So that's one of the toughest things because even though I was having all these symptoms, I was so ashamed by them. And it took me a lot of years to finally muster up the courage and speak up at a doctor's appointment. And it was because I wanted to talk to boys. And I was so embarrassed to get up close because I didn't want them to see my face and to see all this facial hair. And I remember I would steal my dad's razor blade and put them in my backpack because sometimes, facial hair, when you have PCOS, it grows back like before the day's over, right? And or you sometimes miss a spot. And I was like, oh my God, if a boy sits next to me on the school bus, I'm going to be more focused on him hopefully not catching that than the conversation we're having, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to go to the doctor.
I didn't have much face hair, but I did have a lot of like body hair.
Same.
In my arms. I remember like a guy telling me, you have man arms. How do you even like go through that mentally as a kid? Like, what did you turn
hide.
to? Yeah.
You hide, or at least I hid. I'm sure there's like women listening. I'm like, I didn't. And that's who I wish I would have been, right?
Yeah.
But my mother was perfect. I remember there was this kid once who like called me Wolverine because I had such thick and long arm hair. And also like we would in PE, my legs would be also, I would have just a disproportionate amount of body hair. So I hid because my sister and my mother, they're like careless. And when everybody around you is normal and is normal, right? I was just so embarrassed to get up close with anybody. And when I went to the doctor, it was so sad because I kind of thought about it, that it was always just a me problem. And my doctor said, yeah, well, you're Mexican. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, it's typical. I have many patients that look like you. And it doesn't help that, also like Frida Kahlo has created these beautiful paintings and this amazing representation of body hair. But, I'm Mexican. I have these issues. I'm also very young. My doctors are like, it's normal. Learn to live with it, bleach it, wax it, etc. There's many hair removal methods. But not so great thing is that I also had very painful cycles, irregular cycles when I was 13. And they really started to bother me. Like I would call my mother in the bathroom at school and I'd be like, Mom, please pick me up. Like I'm not feeling good. Or sometimes I would go without a cycle for months. I spoke to my doctors. And again, when you're young and you're starting to speak up, it's natural for a doctor to say, oh, well, as you go through puberty, your cycles should regulate, right? So it's like, again, just be quiet.
Yeah.
And so you start to internalize a lot of things. You start to say, okay, it's normal to live in pain. It's normal to have to always have all of these issues that maybe other women don't, other people don't. And so I went throughout my life, like just thinking it was just me. It was the fact that I was Mexican. And as you get older, you get more stress. And then more symptoms pop up. And I remember it got to a point where I was on the combination birth control pill.
Okay.
And this is where it did help for some time to like clear up my acne.
And a doctor prescribed you this is for PCOS, or was it kind of just like, because I know I was, I think I was put onto a combination pill. I can't remember the exact name.
There's so many. I was on Sprintec. I was on Yasmin.
I think it was maybe Yasmin.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's very popular.
But I think it was for my periods and my acne, because I had really strong I still do to this day.
Yeah.
And there's so many women that don't have intense periods. Like they can just go on, and that's not, it's not a normal thing, right? It's like a low imbalance.
That's the thing. Like learning about hormones is like taking an algebra class.
Yeah, no. I get stressed out, honestly, just learning so much about it. But it's like, how do you cure this long term?
Exactly. And like, is there a cure? And it's because your hormones are obviously always ebbing and flowing. But the birth control pill, essentially what it does, because there's so many types, and I also went on the Mirena IUD. I'll get to that later. But for acne, so there's this hormone, but yeah, the sex hormone binding globulin, essentially what it does is that when you produce more of it, it traps free testosterone that is in your blood. And so your body can't utilize that. And when you have a lot of testosterone, so like more androgens, it can cause this acne, and it can affect ovulation and your cycles.
Yep.
So that's one of the biggest reasons why it's given to women with PCOS and why it helped me so much to an extent. But as I got older, the facial hair started to grow more. It's not back, but like it grew back. My acne started to become cystic. And it's not that I had like severe acne, but it was, all the time, like the entire year, I would have a cystic pimple somewhere in my face. I wouldn't be able to like sleep on my pillow and all these things. And I'm like, okay, I need to go back to the doctor and ask for help. This is painful. And this is where I went on spironolactone.
I went on spironolactone too, but I didn't like the way that it made me feel.
Exactly.
And it's like,
exactly.
Where is the doctors don't want to give you like something that goes directly to the root cause.
Since we don't know the root cause of PCOS, everybody says that birth control pills, spironolactone, metformin, and all of these other drugs, they're a Band-Aid approach, which is true. But to really get to the root cause, that's where you go into, there's some, the most notable is insulin resistance. And then there can be an adrenal dysfunction where your adrenals can produce androgens, so high levels of DHEAS. And again, that gets very complicated. But if you can figure out through a blood test which one you are, or maybe you have both, that's a great start because you just address the insulin resistance or the adrenal dysfunction. And that's where you can make incredible lifestyle changes that you could just sustain forever.
Yeah.
And that's a great way of like tackling it at the root. But when you get birth control pills and you get spironolactone and you're told that this is normal or genetic from your roots, I never got that extensive testing until I became aware of it and I got more conscious of what is going on, right? Yeah. And so I went on spironolactone. And another thing that I've bonded so much with my community is that, I wish I only had PCOS, but I have a ton of health issues. I grew up pretty much my entire middle school going to the children's hospital every week to get immunotherapy.
Okay.
From how bad my allergies were. Like I had the worst quality of life. I was always super snotty and like year round. Like imagine trying to succeed as a student and you're chronically always feeling really sick.
And even at a young age, I'm sure it's just like, what is happening to me? As
I also was going through my life with my immune system problem with my allergies, my PCOS, I also developed POTS.
What is POTS?
So
I've heard of POTS, but it's...
Yes.
I don't know the like specifics.
Now it's like finally trending on TikTok. I love it because we need it. We need this representation. And it's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
Okay.
And basically, when you get up, your blood pressure doesn't regulate and you're very dizzy and you can pass out. And it can also just happen when you're exercising. And I remember I would try to exercise and my heart rate just by like lifting weights, it would be like at 200 beats per minute. And I'd feel like I was about to pass out. So again, movement became very challenging. And when you're on spironolactone, that messes with your blood pressure.
Yeah.
So you start spironolactone usually at like a 25 milligram dose. I felt fine, but it was not effective for what I needed it to do. So then I bumped up to 50 milligrams and I was like, okay, my skin is like kind of clearing up, but I really wanted to target the hirsutism, the facial hair.
Yeah.
And that I started to finally see results at like 100 milligrams. But that was a dose that was messing with my POTS. So then I was like, oh my God, again, there's something I can take. There's a tool that's there for me, but I can't take it.
Yeah.
And I went to like SoulCycle and I passed out in front of everyone, like strapped into my bike.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember I went blind and I couldn't see anything. And I was like, okay, that was the most terrifying experience. I was, I think 16, 17 years old. And I said, okay, I need to come off of this medication. And also, spironolactone is usually given in combination with the birth control pill because it can make your cycles irregular. And there was also a point where in my journey, because I took it for a year, where I had a 6-month-long period.
6 months?
Yeah, and it was like not like a normal period. It was just like spotting. And it was spotting every single day. And I'm like,
was that coming from the birth control and the spironolactone?
It was from the spironolactone. Yeah. So, because it affects your hormones, of course, your androgens. And I'm not aware of why that happened because I also went to my doctors and they couldn't figure it out.
And so when you had like this moment of like you passing out in a workout class, like everything you're feeling like what is going on. I mean, in that moment, were you like, okay, I need to like, how am I going to solve this?
Well, again, it's not even about solving it. I'm like, yeah, of course it happened to me. Right? Because it had been so many years now of just me being the problem and me going to the hospital, me having all these things. And there's also like, I didn't feel like I had the support system that also believed in the fact that it was deeper than this, but I also didn't have the knowledge, right? I was not aware. But as I got older and then my symptoms got a little bit more severe during COVID, that's where I said, okay, this is unbelievable. That's where I started to develop this insulin resistance. I had a 30-pound weight gain. I started to have moon face. And that's where my symptoms were really flaring and screaming at me. And they're like, Mila, you need to take care of your hormone health. But if I went a little bit too fast, but I also, after the spironolactone, I don't know if you've ever gotten this. Maybe some of the listeners have gotten this.
Yeah.
I started to have phantom cramps.
What is phantom cramps?
Yeah, it's like I would get like shocks in my uterus randomly during the day and no matter where in my cycle. And I would be like this and I'd be like, what is going on? So, and I went to many doctors and I was like, okay, I need to go to this OBGYN. She couldn't figure it out. Went to my general doctor, primary care, internist. Nobody knew what it was until I went to see, again, my general doctor that knew my whole story. And he told me, well, my wife we just had kids. And I put her on the Mirena IUD. It took away her cycle completely and she loves it. Maybe if we take it away, it'll solve everything.
Oh my gosh.
And I was so embarrassed because I would be like in class where I would speak to people and I'd jump up and I'm like, what is going on? It's actually can be a sign of endometriosis from what I've heard.
And endometriosis is?
It's basically when the lining of your uterus grows outside of your uterus.
Okay.
Or I'm not an expert on endometriosis, so I'm sure anybody could give you a better definition, but it's incredibly painful. And you have really, really painful menstrual cycles to the point where you need painkillers and it's really, really difficult. And I never had that level of extreme cycle pain, but I definitely had, again, there was something off, right? And again, I was met with, let's just take your cycle away. And I went on the Mirena IUD because another thing about moving to America is my parents painted America as like, this is the American dream. They do everything better.
Yeah.
And I thought I was getting the best care. And so I was a really good patient and I listened to my doctors blindly. And that caused me a lot of harm. I was a bit gullible in that sense. And so COVID hits. I meet Lucas.
Wait, when you went before we get into this story, I need to unpack everything that you just said. Yes. Wait, so okay, you go on the IUD. You're on the IUD for how long?
I think it was only 3 years.
3 years. That's, I mean, still a long time to not have your period.
Well, funny enough, one of the reasons why it was like the moment where I wanted to come off of birth control was that since I was 13, I started birth control. From 13 until 2022, since I was like 21, freshly 21, I never had a natural cycle. They were always synthetically induced or it was missing.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and that's crazy because I didn't know if my body could do it on its own, right?
Yeah.
And that was a crazy realization for me.
I'm not an expert either, but I know that even like after me taking birth control and stuff and then getting off of it, I realized that like birth control can actually affect your like chances of being pregnant, no? Long term.
It affects your hormone levels in a permanent sense. It affects your microbiome as well.
Okay.
I want to be very cautious because, of course, there's a lot of fear-mongering on birth control. It's changed the lives of so many women. So like women with endometriosis, some are able to just like get through and like work and be productive thanks to having a Mirena IUD because they no longer have a cycle.
Yeah.
Again, like birth control and medication has its place and it's there for a reason and it's helped so many.
Yep.
But for me, I now also have some issues. So I have chronic venous insufficiency.
What is chronic?
Yeah.
I'm learning so much and I'm sure everyone is learning as well.
I'll just show you. I was in the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
A week ago, I got my IV. So like if you can imagine how strong it was.
Wow.
Because I also have gallbladder stones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is painful.
But all of my doctors are linking it to birth control.
Wow.
Right. So I'm learning this now. And unfortunately, when you take synthetic estrogen, you're at risk for many health issues and also blood clots. And there's estrogen and progesterone receptors inside your vein walls. And a lot of women, when you have chronically like high levels of estrogen, typically when you're pregnant for a long period of time, it weakens the walls of your veins and you can end up with chronic venous insufficiency or varicose veins. And a lot of women get varicose veins, and that's why they wear compression socks during pregnancy.
Yep.
And again, I go to these doctors because something crazy happens usually in the heat in the summer. Your veins are also like they enlarge due to heat, and if you have varicose veins, this is where your symptoms usually flare. You can also have like edema and like you have water retention. Like your legs feel heavy and painful, and that's again. Oh my God, it's also closely linked to lipedema. And that's another sister like disease of PCOS. And that's abnormal fat growth on your legs that does not go away with working out. It's permanent. So I started to have all these symptoms. I always put them off and I was like, oh, it's because I'm working out. It's because I'm an active person. Yeah, that's why I have leg pain. But last summer, I'm in Lebanon, visiting Lucas's mother.
Oh my goodness, you were in Lebanon last summer. Nice.
I love visiting her. It's always the best time. And it's very hot. And suddenly, veins in my leg burst.
Burst?
It's not that scary. I think I chose the wrong word. I don't want to scare anyone. They leaked. That's the correct term.
That still sounds like not normal. It doesn't sound normal.
It doesn't. It's no, and it was very scary for me because it's not that it was painful. It was like it wasn't painful. Usually if you feel like it's painful and hot, that's a blood clot and you have to rush to the ER. Yeah. But thankfully that wasn't the case. And it was a leaking of my veins that looked like grapes. Like they were all connected. It's like little balls that were connected to each other. And I was like, okay, I need to go see a cardiologist. I need to go see a specialist. I go to the doctor. They look at me and they're like, they don't want to test me for anything. And they're like, you're probably fine. You're probably just like a hypochondriac, right? And I asked the doctor, no, please, you have to help me. Look at this photo. Thankfully, I took a photo. The bruising by the time that I got an appointment, had kind of like faded. Yep. And he takes a echo Doppler scan to check my veins. And he goes, oh okay. Yeah, you have chronic venous insufficiency. And he taught me over like the course of an hour that we were just conversing. That's the beauty about Lebanon. They're very relaxed.
They are. Everything is slow in the Middle East.
And it was amazing.
All of it.
So I got a proper introduction to what I need to do, which is wear compression socks, especially in the summer. He also gave me like a heart medication or like I'm not taking it. I'm like, not yet. Yeah. But this is where he asked me, you don't have high cholesterol levels. You don't have this in your family. I go, no. And he goes, okay, well, did you take birth control? I go, yeah, for like 7 years. And he goes, bingo. That could probably be a cause, right? I don't want to say it is. I don't want to give that poisonous data.
Yeah. And I mean, people also are this topic is sensitive because so many women are on birth control. And sometimes you don't want to believe the things you hear as well of like what something could be doing to you while you're on it. Because I mean, it's just
scary.
Yeah, it is. It is scary.
It's scary. And then also with the gallbladder stones, my blood work. So I went to the ER last week. And they were about to put me in surgery to remove it. And I go, I have to see Leana. I'm not even joking. I canceled
Oh my goodness.
I powered through and I passed the stone. And I'm like, I need to see Leana because if I did have the surgery, I couldn't fly because it's a very long haul flight. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it.
Well, hopefully the pain was worth it because you're sharing so much information that, will go on to women that will start to understand more. But
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. But you see, that's the thing. Like I have PCOS and I'll also have POTS and I have these things. And I'm a magnet for health issues. But now with what I do every single day, I'm like, you know what? Meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Because I just get to learn so much and share. And I can't tell you the amount of messages that I have gotten since I shared about the chronic venous insufficiency and the gallbladder stones that, again, my blood work was perfect. Even when I went to the ER, they go, I don't understand why you're having an attack when you're this young. You're not obese. You don't have high cholesterol levels. Your inflammatory markers are perfect. And your liver is also perfect in the ultrasound. The only times that my surgeon has actually seen this is when you have a genetic mutation where you don't produce an enzyme to dissolve the stones, which is very rare, or birth control. Because synthetic estrogen, I believe, again, this is what my doctor told me. Sometimes doctors can be wrong, or sometimes they simplify things to explain it to a patient and they miss some nuances, but he told me that could definitely be a cause, right? So I'm like, man, nobody ever told me about one side effect when they offered me this, and I was on it for a year, so that also makes me angry. But when Lucas proposed to me and when I got married, I got so many messages from my girls, and I loved them all. But when I talked about these things, I've never had so many messages and paragraphs of women within the same age as me, give or take 5 or like 10 years, that have the same exact experience. They also have the gallbladder stones. They also have the chronic venous insufficiency or varicose veins. They had a very similar treatment plan as me, which is wild.
So after going through all of that, sharing it with your community, this was all just you kind of like living in real time and like documenting this journey online.
Yeah.
And that led you into what? Researching? Because I know you ended up moving to New York.
Yes.
And because you went to school in New York as well? Or did you just move there and then started diving into like how to fix? Yeah.
I went to school. I went to university. So I landed at NYU.
Okay.
And I was super excited because I always wanted to be a doctor since I was little. I would always gravitate to like toys. And I actually wanted to be a veterinarian, but then I'm like, no, now that I've had health issues, and I also grew up like in a hospital setting at the children's hospital I was always frequenting. I loved my nurses. I loved my doctors. I still love doctors. I think that just like us, they're victims of the medical system.
Yeah. Like in the things that they're learning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they just breeze through women's health when they're learning. So it's, again, they're victims too, but I loved my doctors. I loved all these experiences. And I really wanted to do something in that respect. And so I went to NYU to study women's health.
Okay.
And they have this school called Gallatin where you create your own major.
What? You can create your own major?
Yeah. It's crazy. NYU is really crazy in a great way. And I was like, yeah, I want to dedicate my life to women's health, right? I get to NYU. I'm super excited. It's the best time of my life. I just met Lucas. I had told myself, I'm like, I don't want a boyfriend. I want to really just focus on myself when I'm at university. I literally told everybody this, my parents, my friends. The day I land, I meet Lucas. They're like, whoa. And I never believed in love at first sight. I really didn't believe in love because I had a hard time growing up. I didn't have that many friends. I also was a bit awkward because I've moved a lot I moved around a lot and I was always the new kid. So I was like, it's just movies. Then I met Lucas and I'm like, whoa. Like I felt like he was somebody that I had knew from my past life. And we were glued. And it's kismet. It will make sense. I'm adding this little scene in the beginning.
Yeah.
The moment we meet, 2 months later, the pandemic happens. We are stuck together, which was the best. It was the best case scenario because we really got to know each other. And it's like the pandemic either broke couples or like really made them stronger.
Yeah.
And we had this incredible level of companionship within Lucas and his father because they lived together. And we called ourselves like the Three Musketeers. And we were always together. But COVID was a very tough time for my family because they also worked in a business that was struggling because it was travel.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can imagine that like the stress was high, right? But regardless, like we continued. I really developed this beautiful relationship with Lucas. That year after Christmas, his father passes away randomly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that was a shock. And so that completely was devastating. And within a week, my dad also calls me. He goes, I'm so sorry, but I can't afford school anymore.
Oh my God.
Basically like bankruptcy. And I'm like, there's no way. Like now I have to go through grief. Now my family is going through a devastating place. Is that even the right word? Place? A situation. Yeah. And this is where I realized, okay, that means that I can't afford living in New York anymore because I was always so privileged. Like my father took care of me like crazy. Like he really spoiled me. But now he was telling me to come back home because he couldn't afford New York. New York is so expensive, obviously. And he was telling me also like in a way of protecting me because if I put myself in his shoes, I understand it. But he also told me, we're going through this and it's going to be very difficult for us. And I know you love Lucas, but what he is going through is not for you, you know? Just support him, but you have to come back home.
Oh my God.
And that's when I said, absolutely not. Fuck that. I'm staying here and I'm taking care of Lucas. He couldn't even eat. Like I had to shower him and I had to like help him. And come on, he lived with his father.
Yeah.
Like for him, it was devastating in every sense of the word. And that's where I realized, okay, I need to make money. If you would have told me this was in my destiny, I would have laughed. I would have been like, there's no way. But thankfully, due to like an algorithm, so there was this Netflix show that was being created. It got scrapped because of the pandemic, but they were showing people how they use AI to find models. And this AI algorithm was looking for like this androgynous model, or they wanted like specific features. My eyebrow saved my freaking life. And this agent sends me a DM from like a crazy good agency in New York. And they're like, Mila, we'd love to meet you.
Wow.
We'd love to sign you. I mean, I meet them. They're like, yeah, can we sign you? Amazing. I start working beauty jobs, which paid the most in the modeling world. Like I could work one day and I'd be good for the month, right? And I'm like, oh my God, thank you, God, right? Like this is what I need. So I start to work as a model. I start to finally be able to find a way to stay afloat in New York. And long story short, life gets stressful. You know, after bankruptcy, things don't get just better. They get pretty bad. And then my parents separate, which is, yeah, I mean, it's quite common. Like now that I've talked to a lot of people, I realize, again, it's so beautiful because I share this openly with my girls. Yeah. They've had similar experiences. But the stress was eating me alive because I went into like my girl boss mode.
Yeah.
I didn't process the grief. I didn't process the grief of also, you know, my parents being together, the harmony that we used to have, et cetera. It caused so much stress in my family. And, you know, whenever you have like money issues, you also see like the real faces of like cousins and aunts and uncles.
Yep.
My family was destroyed. Like it was crazy in my eyes.
When you were going through all this, because that's like everything at once.
Yes, exactly.
And I mean, even the like finding the modeling thing, like, so like, was it super quick?
That was meant to be, and it saved me. And it was funny because they contacted me before everything happened. And I was kind of like putting it off because I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a model. It's a tough world, et cetera. But then I was like, yes, like let's start that. And that industry is very cutthroat and it's all about looks, right? So I'm like, okay, I really, really need to take care of myself. That was my focus. But since I put off my entire nervous system regulation. And I was just trying to keep myself afloat and trying to just help Lucas and all these things. I never took care of myself, and suddenly my body just broke. And I developed hypothyroidism and my hair started to fall. I'm sure that my lifestyle is also a model because you have to exercise and you have to do all these things. I knew that the skinnier I got, the more jobs I would book.
Yeah.
I never went into the trajectory that is unhealthy, but I definitely added more stress to my body.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to go to the gym, I need to eat healthy, etc. But I think I pushed myself a little bit too far with all of this internal inflammation that I was dealing with. And suddenly I started to develop, again, like this chronic stress, this chronic inflammation. I definitely had like some adrenal dysregulation and all my symptoms started to come back.
Oh my gosh.
So I knocked on the door of my PCOS and I'm like, hey, without knowing. Again, I didn't even know I had PCOS.
Yeah.
Same with my hypothyroidism. And I started to have this fatigue. I started to have so many visible symptoms that were preventing me from getting work. And I'm like, okay, so now you're telling me that the way that I pay rent and that I put food on my table is my looks, and my symptoms are now taking jobs away from me. Because even though I had gained 30 pounds, and even though I had, this swelling in my face, we call it moon face, it's just a lot of inflammation. I start to have some acne, and I start to have, again, some facial hair. I could have shaved the facial hair like before the job and it's fine. Models have acne, it's totally fine. The body positivity movement, especially in New York, you can be an incredibly successful model and be plus size. I have many friends that are incredibly successful and they're killing it. But when you are sick, there's something about your eyes that you, like, the lights are not there.
I remember seeing pictures of your transformation and like, you can just tell that you were going through so much.
And it's not a good picture. And casting directors can tell. And I remember I would go to jobs and that were like clients, and then they just stopped calling me back. And I can't blame them. You look at the photo and you're like, there's something off with her. Or like, this girl is going through it. And that happened to me. So I realized, okay, I was very smart with money. I had saved enough money for emergency situations. I took a pause from school because I couldn't afford it. But this is where I realized the beautiful thing about NYU is that you can take a gap year for a long time. Yeah. They're very flexible. And so I called them up. They knew everything that was going on, my counselor. And she was like, okay, I'll give you another year. Just take care of yourself, right?
Yep.
And this is where my stubbornness saved me, but also vanity. Because it's not that I had this internal vanity and I'm like, I want to be beautiful, et cetera. No, that was a job requirement for me to make money, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that I could not waste more time and more money because I had gone through all the wellness scams. I don't know if you've ever heard of a lemonade diet.
Mm-mm.
Good. I'm so happy you haven't.
What is the lemonade diet?
It's a diet where you only drink lemonade. No solid food for like weeks. And it's called the Master Cleanse diet, which a lot of people find that it's very spiritual. And a lot of people do it and, they put honey, etc. So it's not like you're not eating, but regardless, I went to this chiropractor in Manhattan that cost a lot of money. And he had marketed himself as being the best. And he had all these celebrity clients, people that we all know. And I'm like, okay, he's going to heal me. Because obviously my internist and my endocrinologist in New York and my OBGYNs, because obviously I was always trying to meet a doctor that would believe me, right?
Yep.
They were all telling me, maybe you need an antidepressant. The moment I said, yeah, I went through grief and I had all these things happen, they're like, yeah, here's an antidepressant. I'm like, no, please take a deeper look, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this guy will listen to me. That chiropractor made me incredibly sick. He gave me a diet that was like, I remember Lucas looking at that and he's like, you're going to eat like you're a rabbit? Like, what is this? And he put me through cleanses that were just, again, I was not getting anywhere. And then he goes, okay, perfect. I know what we have to do. We have to give you the lemonade diet. It's the master cleanse list. Here's a book, read about it, do it.
And these are probably studies that have all because I know
There's
it's like
studies.
A water fast diet essentially, right? Kind of, but with lemon.
So it's lemon and honey, and apparently like the glucose from the honey, like it's enough to keep you sustained for 2 weeks, etc. And I know it's incredibly spiritual, and a lot of people use it to also like combat addiction and like nicotine addiction, and it's helped so many people. But that's not an appropriate thing to give to somebody that was going through what I was going through.
Yeah, no, PCOS, and especially even women. Like studies on women's bodies for fasting is so different than men's.
Exactly.
But then they still give you solutions that are based off of like men.
Exactly. Or like they just really do not take our hormones into consideration for the long-term effects. The moment I stopped my diet, I was not given any guidance as to how to eat food again. I developed massive food allergies. And I would wake up for months just itching my body and all these things. So that's where I realized, again, okay, I just spent thousands of dollars with this guy that also sold me his supplement and his protein bars and all these protein shakes that they were his.
Yeah.
And again, I'm such a good patient. I'm like, I'm in America. They get it, right?
Yeah.
I went blindly into it. I got harmed. Like, it physically harmed me. And that's where I realized the one thing I know that it's not going to fail me is science. And I picked up my NYU student ID and I started to go into PubMed and all these research institutes that have amazing quality studies, but they're behind paywalls. Mm. That's another thing that I've learned. I saw a study that I wanted to read. And for some reason, NYU was my institution was not in the program where you could just read it for free. It cost $500 to rent it for 24 hours just to read it.
What?
Yeah, knowledge. And there's probably, like, again, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. There's probably like a business reason to why, and it's for funding or maybe, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But what is that, I don't believe that knowledge should be behind paywalls. And that's why everything that I've ever done and all my guides and even the recipe to Milamend, it's always been free. I'm like, I'm not going to charge people. And I bought so many PDFs for so many people that, again, it's so difficult for me to put a price on something when it comes to a problem that is so debilitating and it really affects you. So regardless, I'll go on a tangent. Going back to the science, I just started to read. And I remember Lucas it would be like 3 a.m. He's like watching UFC or like whatever sports or like whatever movie. And I would just be consuming research studies. Then I learned in the process, you have to learn how to read research studies. Some are funded. There's bias. There's actually studies right now that are being retracted on PCOS. So because the participant data was incredibly similar in both studies. So they think that they just duplicated it. And that's obviously not a quality study, right? Yeah. So that happens all the time. And it's unfortunate, but it's normal. But you have to take things with a grain of salt. You have to look at meta-analysis studies. Those are the best. And I just started to learn about metabolic syndrome. I started to learn about endocrine disorders. That's where I went to a doctor. I'm like, hey, can you test me for hypothyroidism? Bingo. And I started to really think it was a hypothyroid problem. But then fast forward to, I believe it was 2021. Yeah, late 2021. I finally got my PCOS diagnosis.
From another doctor, or did you?
In France.
Oh, in France.
Yeah.
So you had moved to France now?
No, I was visiting France.
Oh, you were just visiting and you went, okay.
So Lucas's mother, there's so many Lebanese that live between Paris and France.
Right.
And she was like, I want to go live in Paris. And she had a boyfriend there. So she was really having a great time in Paris. I'm like, okay, great. I'm also half French.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're half Mexican, half French.
Yes. Through my father, because my grandmother, they immigrated in World War II to Mexico. There's a lot of French Mexicans, actually. It's so niche. But yes, I was like, okay, I want to go see France and be with Lucas. He also grew up in Paris. So Lucas is the same as me. He was born in Lebanon. He was raised in Milano. Okay. Then he lived in Switzerland, in Lugano. Mm. Then he moved to Paris to finish his studies there for high school. And then he went to New York. So again, very good match.
Yeah, the fact that you guys kind of met each other again in another life. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's okay, you get the mess? Amazing. Yeah. But we went to go see his mother. And this is the crazy thing. So in the beginning, when we were having a conversation, we talked about the classic PCOS symptoms. Mm. This is where it got really crazy. By this point, I was doing my research and I was tackling my hypothyroidism. I had met the pharmacist of Lucas's father, So Lucas's father, the day I met him, he took me to the kitchen on like the corner where he had his little supplement cabinet. He opened it up and I'm like, whoa. Like it was just all of these nutraceuticals that I've never seen at CVS or
What
like
is
at Target.
nutraceuticals? Is
So
it
it's like clinical grade supplements.
Okay.
Like
from France or from?
No, anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, this is amazing. And this is, sorry, I'm like jumping everywhere, but this is where I met him in New York. Yeah. So I remember it was like the winter time when we met, like before COVID. And he gets a little Ziploc. He's like, come here. Here's a spore probiotic. Here's liposomal vitamin C. Here's zinc picolinate. And he like put like a week's worth and he's like, take them and let me know how you feel. And I was like, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so I took them and I felt better, right? And I also thought that his supplements were really, really beautiful and really cool. So that stuck in my mind. But again, I always thought supplements were a scam. I always thought they were a scam because that's what everybody says, right? Yeah. And I never questioned that. So when I got the confirmation of hypothyroidism and I started to go through, all this research that was pointing towards selenium or thyroid support and iodine, I called his pharmacist and I'm like, hey, can you make me a supplement routine? And he got me on an immune protocol. He taught me about L-lysine. He taught me about Epstein-Barr virus, which is the virus that have you ever had mononucleosis?
Mono?
Yeah.
I've had mono.
Then you have Epstein-Barr?
Yeah, put me in the hospital.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but...
I mean, that's a herpes virus, which is Epstein-Barr.
Oh, it's a herpes virus?
Yeah. I mean, so many viruses are herpes virus. It's
but
funny.
the
word herpes is like, people think it's like, oh, it's gross, whatever. No, it's just the clinical term. But Epstein-Barr virus is like the father of like mononucleosis and so many issues. And this is like, some scientists don't believe in this.
Yeah.
So again, take this with a grain of salt. But from practice, and a lot of my doctors have confirmed it. But when you have Epstein-Barr, it lives dormant in your body. And when you have stress or any trigger, the viral load, it like wakes up in your body and it increases. And sometimes when you have chronic fatigue and you really feel really, really down, if you test your Epstein-Barr virus levels, they might be very high. And that was my case. And that's a very expensive test. That for me wasn't covered.
Is that linked to cortisol or anything or no?
It's definitely linked to a lot of diseases.
Yeah.
A lot of people, again, I don't want to say it's like woo-woo science because there's not consensus in the scientific community about this, which is healthy, right? People should debate. But a lot of them link back to Epstein-Barr virus and same with endocrine disorders. Okay. So this is where I start to create a protocol and I start to feel better. When you fortify your immune system and it's stronger, you have a less likelihood of probably your Epstein-Barr levels waking up the virus, right? And so regardless, this is where I started to just feel better. My thyroid started to function better. I started to take thyroid medication.
Okay.
It looked beautiful on paper. Like my TSH levels were amazing. I didn't feel much of a difference. So I knew that there was still something missing. But when I went to Paris and I visited Lucas's mother, by then I had tried out so many things and I had downloaded so many things. I'd bought so many supplements. I've seen so many specialists. And I always told my entire family, oh my God, I figured it out. Like this is the influencer or this is the influencer doctor that is going to cure me, or you have to buy me their coaching program. And I would throw all this money away because it was not specialized for me, as in like everything that you need. Yeah. It's PCOS, and I wasn't aware of it, and it wouldn't work. So you kind of just start to see this sense of disapproval from like your circle that is like your safety circle, where they kind of also start wondering if you're a hypochondriac. So I just started to become quiet and I stopped telling people about what I was going through.
And hypochondriac is like?
When you just think that you have everything. Like you go on WebMD and you're like, I have a headache and you believe now that you have cancer and all these things. And that's a terrible definition of hypochondriac. There's probably a better one. But it's like when you're always at the doctor. Yeah. And it's not necessary. Yeah. Or you're self-diagnosing. And you maybe just have also like health anxiety. That can be a hypochondriac. And a lot of people started to think that and within my family. So I started to just say, okay, I need to chill out. But when I went to Paris, I got into a cab. Okay, I grew up driving in Texas, right? I don't get scared. Like, I can drive. If you can drive in Texas, you can drive anywhere.
Yeah.
But I would get in taxis and I would tell Lucas, please just let me know when we're there. I'm going to cover my eyes and have a great drive, right? Like, just watch reels on Instagram or something. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I was terrified for my life and I thought that we were going to crash at any moment and I was going to die. I started to have panic attacks all the time. And I started to have these irrational fears. And this is where Lucas was like, what is going on? Okay, like,
yeah.
I knew that some of these things were not good, but like, what is going on? And then I started to sweat the bed. Like, I had menopause and I would wake up Lucas. He would be drenched in my sweat. And I was just going through the craziest symptoms that were really affecting our relationship because I was really not there. I had this crazy level of anxiety. I wouldn't even ride a bike. I was terrified. I thought I was going to die. So that was really, really difficult. Not being able to sleep was so difficult. Like, sweating the bed every night. Like, it was drenched in my sweat. This is where Lucas picked up the phone and started to call all of his friends. And he said, give me your mother's OBGYNs. Give me their endocrinologists. I need to see them right now. And obviously, specialty appointments and specialty doctors, they're booked out like months. Yeah. And we were only in Paris for like a short amount of time. So we started to call the assistants of all these contacts every hour.
Wow.
He's amazing.
Yeah, that.
So, but I have to say, this is where I also kind of gave up because I finally understood, that girl that spoke up when she was 11 or 12 or 13, she should have just chilled. I was like, this is just me. But I was so defeated by then. Lucas picked me up and he finally found an endocrinologist that was able to stay past closing hours. I was like, okay, I'll see your girlfriend. I get into the appointment. I tell her my story. Lucas is there next to me. It was the first time he came to an appointment. And the doctor goes, yeah, this is normal. And that's where Lucas spoke up for me. And he said, you're telling me that, he was like, you're telling my wife. And you're telling me that all of these things are normal. Lucas said, I don't even know who she is anymore, right? Like, from when I first started to date her to today, I mean, her health has deteriorated. You're telling me that in such a short span, this is normal. She should live like this for the rest of her life. And that's where the endocrinologist kicks him out of the room. Literally kicked him out because he got really, really angry. Like, didn't yell, but he got heated, right?
Yeah. Frustrated. I mean, all the
Very
things.
frustrated.
Yeah.
But then he finally lived what I kept telling him, that they don't listen. And that's where he realized, oh my God, I finally understand what all these women say. I can't, and also she was a woman, right? But because of that, she's like, fine, I'll do it. She ran the most comprehensive hormone panel test ever. I probably should mention I had come off of birth control. Mm-hmm. So I switched to a copper IUD.
Okay, so you're on an IUD. On an IUD.
Right now,
okay.
I am, yeah.
Oh, you still are?
I still wanted the birth control. So I'm like, okay, now I'm in a relationship and now I'm married. I don't want a baby right now. But definitely that helped, because one of the reasons why I never got a hormone panel done was because my doctors couldn't read where my hormones were, because I'm synthetically taking them, right? So I was able to have a clear picture. And I met the parameters of PCOS, and she gave me my diagnosis. And that moment, I'll never forget. I thought it was like the eureka moment. I'm like, my life is going to be better. I finally figured it out. And I was like hugging my inner child. I'm like, Mila, we did it. We did it. I go to my follow-up appointment with the biggest smile. And I go, okay, doctor, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What can I take? And she goes, okay, well, you're not a candidate for GLP-1s. You already took birth control pills and you don't want to go back on them. You already took spironolactone. Did not work out for you. I did take metformin. Did not work out for me. So she told me, well, you can eat less and move more. And I go, oh, no, chill. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't do anything. There's nothing. She goes, no. And I go, yeah, but I need to go back to modeling because I need to make money. And I need, like, I don't have a degree. Like, this is the only trajectory for me right now. And I need it. Like, my savings are running dry. And she goes, no. Your modeling is not going to work. You have to accept where you are today. This is what happens when women just grow up when they're in their 20s or whatever. And this is your new set point body weight. And this is where your body feels comfortable. She said, this is your reality.
And your body at this point was,
I was 30 pounds heavier. 30 pounds heavier from right now.
And this is when you had like moon face and everything, or like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is where she lit a fire in me. And I said, oh my God, I am going to prove you wrong. And a year later, I went back to see her at my follow-up appointment. I was a completely different person. She was like, what? What did you do? I have to tell my patients. Obviously, I looked like this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look up milamend.com. And I talked to her about this supplement regimen that was, I built it just with my pharmacist. Obviously with my doctor, like I would always ask like, hey, is this fine? Can I take this? They wouldn't even care. Yes. But with my pharmacist that I met, my mother's pharmacist in Texas, in Dallas, you have to see her.
Yes,
I have to refer. Yeah. Her name is Lark Swofford.
Okay.
And she's on the board of Milamend.
Okay, wow.
She's unbelievable. And she consults for so many of my girls. She's like, Mila, yesterday I had a call with this girl in Russia, and I had another call with this girl in Dubai. And she's like speaking to so many women all around the world, and she's helping them out because she's a master at taking your blood work. She runs it through this program that puts it in optimal reference ranges. And then she figures out like a protocol that you need with supplements, with medication. She has a compound pharmacy, and she compounds my mother's bioidentical hormones.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I met her. And she completed the picture because before I was taking this like immune thyroid fortifying supplement stack from Lucas's father's pharmacist. And now that I had my PCOS diagnosis, I immediately went to see Lark because she's an expert in women's health. And in fact, some of the most severe cases for menopause, perimenopause, or just like women that have endocrine disorders, because their OBGYNs or endocrinologists are not able to spend quality time with patients because they're on 10 minutes, they send them all to Lark to learn everything. Okay. So she completed the picture in my stack. And I also came with my research. Yeah. Always. I'm like, what do you think about inositol? She didn't even know what inositol was. Like myo-inositol to 40:1 ratio. And so like we were all learning together. And in 6 months that we finally figured out the stack, I was a different person. Because I'm not going to say there's no way, like supplements are not a miracle. That's BS. That would be poisonous data. I would never say that. But they're an amazing tool. And I was already eating a low glycemic diet. I was already like, I had worked on my sleep. I was exercising, strength training. Building muscle is the best way to become more insulin sensitive. But that was not enough because my cycles were irregular. They were painful. I still had acne. I still had all these things because I was still producing too many androgens. Yeah. And this is where my formulation was like the cherry on top. And I was like, there's no way. That for me, the reason why this formula is so special to me and so dear to me is because I'm a patient that could not tolerate medication. And when you can't do that, you have no alternative. Yeah. So I found my alternative. And that was the dream. That was the dream.
I remember watching some of your old YouTube videos and seeing all the ingredients that you have now in Milamend. Were you kind of just like putting stuff, testing it out, giving it to your audience? And then I remember you mentioned like your audience were asking for like things from like they were making it themselves.
Yeah. So that's a wild story. So we can now get into the ugly side of the supplement industry because there's no way that every industry is perfect. Yeah, it's impossible. We're humans. Yeah. There's not always going to be good actors in any space.
Right. But that's how you started Milamend, is from like...
Right. So that's wild. Again, Milamend was a complete accident. I never wanted to be on social media. I'm a huge introvert. Like, you wouldn't believe it because I'm so comfortable.
Yeah. You don't seem like an introvert.
When you're like in presence of an amazing person, it's impossible.
Thank you. Likewise.
But when I found my formulation, going back to nutraceuticals, a lot of hormone balanced products. Okay, I know what I'm going to say. A lot of hormone balanced products out there, regardless, or wellness products and formulations, I'm sure you've heard the term fairy dusting of ingredients. They love to use ingredients for marketing that are trending, but they don't give you an efficacious science-driven dosage. So you're just popping gummies or you're popping pills and you might not be feeling a difference. Yep. That's very common. And I I learned about that through the research because I'm like, wait, I need like 2,000 milligrams of my inositol twice a day. But this hormone balance formula has 500 milligrams. No wonder. And it doesn't even have the right servings because I need to be taking it twice daily. That's what the science proves, right? Mm-hmm. I couldn't find anything like that. And same with like, chromium. You might see lower dosages. I wanted 200 micrograms. Selenium. I wanted 200 micrograms. That is what the science says. Mm. It was very hard to find a formulation that had a science-driven dosage and was ethical. Yeah. And if I did find that, it was like $200. Mm-hmm. So I built everything with single ingredients.
Okay.
And another thing is NSF certifications, making sure that they were third-party tested by the most reputable, mark in the industry, which is NSF. And to find all formulations that have everything, like have all of these dosages, have these bioavailable ingredients, and they're third-party tested, it costs a fortune. Mm-hmm. But I didn't care because I was like, okay, I have my life back. If I have to pay $300 a month, I'll figure it out. And I kind of changed my life. Like, you will never see me in nice shoes. I don't own a nice handbag. But I got my supplement routine down. Like, that is my Chanel bag, right? And so that was my focus. And I never wanted to come on social media. Like I said, I am an introvert. But when I went back to Dallas, because I still had my parents' insurance back then, I needed to get my wisdom teeth removed. Mm. I went for the surgery. I thought everything was going to be fine. And it was like right before I was going to do a sprint of getting back into modeling.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was the 0.00005% chance, like the patient that got a crazy infection. Even though I was on antibiotics, I grew an abscess on the side of my face that almost turned into sepsis. And it was the most humbling pain because when you have this abscess, obviously it's external, but it's also internal. It started to push on my throat. So I felt like I had strep. I couldn't speak. I couldn't swallow. And then it started to press on all my cranial nerves and so I had this radiating migraine that put me, like I like to say, a forced meditative state. Mm. And I mean, when you can't sleep, you can't eat. I literally couldn't eat for 2 weeks. And you can't be yourself. You're just left in your thoughts. And this is where I don't think I've never found the right words to describe this, but I kind of like lost my ego. I was like, how can I go back to modeling? Mm. Or like I lost my vanity or like the material world or whatever I valued. I had like a massive refresh. And I said, the only thing that matters is health. Like, look at me right now. I had 6 surgeries in 1 week and they kept like trying to cut inside my mouth. So they wanted like do an incision externally because they also knew that like my goal is to model, right?
Yeah.
And I had penicillin intravenously every 4 hours. So like the nurse would come and like every 4 hours. So like I wouldn't be able to like get proper sleep regardless I was not sleeping. This is where I had a life-changing moment. And I said, I need to share my story. I don't care. Mm. I need to show everything that happened to me. I'm going to open a TikTok account and I am just going to talk about my PCOS journey, how I got back to health.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure there's a mini Mila that is just at the start. And I don't want her to go through the lemonade diet. I don't want her to go see that chiropractor. I want to save her from all of these scams and BS. Mm-hmm. And I want to protect her, right? Yeah. So I did it with that mindset. And I said, if it helps 1 woman or 10 women, I can die happy. Like this is the most amazing thing that can happen. So I upload my video. I include like photos that Lucas never saw. Like I was so embarrassed. I was like, people can never see this photo of me like with my cellulite in the back. Like, and obviously like I didn't even put any effort to look better because I was just like, devastating photos. But showing my transformation, my videos went viral. From the first one, it went viral. And I was like, what is going on? Like I had only had 400 followers max in my entire life. And it was just friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, now all my friends have seen me with a mustache and like my acne and all these things. And I started to obviously process that. But the goal again, like since that hospital stay, I was another person. Mm. And I said, okay, man, this is my calling. Like I have to do this. And funny enough, a week before I went to my under the knife for my surgery. No, 2 weeks before. I went to Mexico. I had slept wrong on the plane ride there. And I hurt my neck. And I was looking for somebody to help me like with a massage. And I'm like, I'm here, short amount of time seeing family. I want to enjoy it, right? So they go, perfect. I have this curandera, which is a healer. And I'm like, yes, amazing. Because, we love our shamanas and our curanderas in Mexico.
Shamanas, is that like shaman? Like a shaman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chamanas, we call them, like the female ones.
Okay.
But they're so integral to our culture and they're so amazing. And their medicine is amazing.
Yeah.
And so I go see her just for a massage, and she like massaged me with rocks and like river rocks and all these things. And she really, really helped me. But she tells me like in the middle of the massage, she goes, my dear, I have to tell you one thing. You were put on this world to help women heal. And I go, can you not tell me like I'm going to be like a high fashion model or something? I need to make money. I don't need to hear that. I had given up on that. But I was like, oh, thank you. Like maybe she sensed in a way that I've always loved medicine. And I believe they can really see and feel. So I text her and I'm like, guess what just happened to me? And guess what is happening to me right now? And so that was kind of like a kismet moment. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm just going to continue and I'm going to continue sharing. And again, from the beginning of my first videos, having hundreds and thousands of women comment and say, this is me. Or like, I am crying because you're explaining my life, was the most healing thing ever. Like my girls healed me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've probably, when you've opened up, you've had the same experience.
Yeah. And so that drove you into then creating Milamend with then like formulating all the products and everything.
Kind of. So it was very scary because they really wanted to know everything, like down to what I ate and down to my supplement routine and to the milligrams. And
I remember seeing a bunch of PDFs that you've created, like literally like booklets for people to just for free, like giving out just free value all the time.
I couldn't charge them. Like, if you're going through what I went through, I cannot charge it. So I would spend all-nighters just doing all this, like putting out all this information that helped me. And obviously like cross-referencing, like, did the study actually say this? Okay, great. I don't want to give any misinformation. So it took a lot of time. And when they asked me for my supplement routine, I was like scared. I'm like, guys, bio-individuality is very important, right? Here's a medical disclaimer. Please ask your doctor. But I created this guide listing out all the ingredients at the dosages that I was taking for myself. Then I put all of the research and links to the studies of why. And I also taught them how to source it because, again, it was nutraceutical, science-driven dosages and good quality. We got $250,000 in a week.
Wow.
It was crazy. And so from there, women all over the world were taking Milamend. They would go to pharmacies, they would print out the PDF and be like, please help me find this. And
I literally just got chills.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's crazy. I love women. Yeah. But even in Paris, like there's this really popular place called City Pharma. And the guide became famous. When they would see a girl walk in with a paper, they're like, the hormone balancing drink. And they're like, what is this? And so they would try to figure it out. And a week later, I would start to get girls telling me like, oh my God, I feel better. And like, I feel more energy. I feel good. I'm sleeping really well because inositol, yes, it's amazing for your reproductive system, but it's amazing for mood and for sleep. So it's really cool because a lot of people started to just already have benefits. And I'm like, yay, great. I was expecting that, right? But then I started to get messages like months later from women saying, Mila, I've never been able to afford IVF. I'm pregnant. And there's been so many babies that are now born and they send me photos. It's like because of Milamend, because, it helps you ovulate. And it helps you with irregular cycles. And it's amazing. And we have folate and CoQ10, which is amazing for your egg quality and et cetera. I can go into that forever. But it's the most profound learning of mine was that I needed this formulation when I was a student. I needed to have better energy. I needed to help clear this brain fog so I could go back to NYU. That was always like the end goal. And it affected everybody so differently, affected women that were in different stages of their life. And that's when they came back to me and they said, Mila, you have to make it for us. And I go, no, there's no way. I was like, to get in the supplement industry, I thought you had to be a pharmacist or a doctor. Turns out you can be a criminal and make a supplement company. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's that easy. But I was still saying like, no, because it's such a big responsibility. And they kept messaging me and I was really thinking about it. Lucas was like, Mila, you have to do it, right? He was busy. He's an amazing entrepreneur. Since he was 14, he's like been building businesses, but he was like doing his thing, right? And I finally get this really profound message from somebody saying, Mila, I don't think you understand, like in this industry and in the women's health industry, particularly supplements, the majority of companies are owned by men. You're a woman. You take the product. You understand me. I trust you blindly. And I go, whoa, that's real. Like that is true. And if I can make an impact in that way, I got to do it. And so Lucas literally said, I've already been talking to manufacturers, by the way. And he told me, I'm going to help you set this up and then I'll hand it to you, right?
Yeah.
He fell in love with the process and meeting our community. And, he's just as obsessed as me as just helping women get the best formulation, the best quality. And the first person that we hired was a regulatory head of compliance. Yeah, a chief officer that would help us with compliance, with quality checks, and building out a process to have the most rigorous, quality checks in order to create the best supplement out there and become the biggest nightmare for a manufacturer. They hated us in the beginning. They were like, they actually told us, we have brands in Costco, like massive, massive brands that have never asked us for this level of detail in these papers that you're asking us for. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But it's how it's going to be. And rest is history.
Honestly, I've already tried it's like the berry, because I was starting out like I would say like 5 years ago, like taking supplements, and I was taking anything, whey proteins, and I wasn't looking into ingredients, things that can disrupt your gut. Yeah. And when I saw your product, I was like, this is so clean. The fact that it's third-party tested, the taste, it's like, and it's not overly sweet. It's not sweetened with anything that's going to, again, damage your gut. And so honestly, I'm excited to try this new, this is mixed berry. I've tried the other flavor, which is
hibiscus tea.
That one's very good.
No stevia, no
and
gums.
Then chocolate.
And then we have chocolate, yes. And we have new flavors coming. Very soon.
Okay, so
and
these are the new packs that you guys are coming out with too?
Yeah, we just came out with little stick packs. And I love what you're saying because we're so clean.
Yep.
Because my girls are my boss. And they're like, Mila, I want this and I want that. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yep. That's the beauty of also starting this company backwards. When you have a community, which is our greatest asset, and you just listen to them, they are so smart. Man. Yeah. They're my compass in every decision that we make. And when people tell me, oh my God, I love it, and I go, I'm going to go tell them. They did great.
Okay, let's try it.
Amazing. This will be my second dose today, but it's perfect.
And so how do you see results with the product? Is it like you have to take it how many times? So it depends.
What I like to say is you take 2 servings if you want maximum support, because that's the science-driven dosages.
Okay.
But a lot of women that just have hormonal imbalances, or if you have these symptoms of a hormonal imbalance but you don't have a diagnosis, you can start with one scoop, and it usually, you'll have a bettering of your symptoms. Sorry, I can't do 2 things at once.
No, I know. This tastes so good.
Thank you. And I know we've already gone through so many iterations of this formulation to improve the flavor, because every single batch that we came out with, there was no way that we got it right in the first time. There's no way. So I had this observational focus group, 500 of our girls, the first ones that ever got the product. And I'm like, how can we improve it? Every single day, if you have it or you mix it with something or you put some lemon, etc., because that's like citric acid, does it taste better? And so they would give me all this feedback, and we're now at this fantastic flavor because of them.
Yeah. And that's so important when building out a company is also to have retention of people loving the product, right? Is them feeling a part of the process.
So that's the thing, like we were talking about earlier, there's so many brands that build products off of trendy ingredients and they just do it once and then they move on to the next. But we are so hyper-focused on perfecting one formulation. And that's why we invested in a clinical trial.
Yep.
We invested in the largest clinical trial ever done on a hormone balance supplement with the IRB. It is professional. And that's because we're truly trying to fix a problem, not profit from one, right? And so when you have this level of integrity, you understand also how important it is to have obviously a great formulation, but consistency, and there's flavor fatigue. And that's why we come out with so many flavors. It's like, it's not because we want to have fun. We want our girls to stay consistent. There's no way you can take this every single day and not grow tired of it.
Yeah.
So we're always changing it and shifting it so our girls can always have their formulation and keep this maintenance dose. So sometimes you will have 2 scoops a day when you have a flare. And then when you feel better, because it's also seasonal, sometimes your symptoms flare in the summer, in the winter, etc. You just go back down to 1 scoop. And, the beautiful thing about giving somebody a science-driven dosage is that they can also customize it.
I want to get into, building Milamend and I guess like even working with your husband. And at the time, was he just your partner? Like, were you guys married yet? Yes. Okay.
My evolved boyfriend.
Yes. Because I know you have mentioned in some of your videos of like trying to be more feminine, because I honestly get extremely feminine energy from you. And I know you talk about it a lot of like how when you were younger, you always grew up wearing dresses and stuff like that. And then you kind of...
Tomboy.
Yeah, you started to go into a tomboy era, which I honestly, growing up, I was such a tomboy. And I think now I struggle with being feminine and also leaning into trying to be an independent woman, but also like having this like feminine side, or if someone ever does come into your life, I mean, let alone you're working with your partner, it's like, how are you balancing like the masculine, the feminine, how are you showing up in moments where it's like are you always talking about work? I mean, I guess if you love,
unfortunately, yes, but we love it, right?
Yeah, of course. It's something that you love, but how are you balancing that?
When it comes to work, Lucas and I, as you could tell, like from our story, we've gone through hell.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of our investors, because we had to raise capital to meet demand. I don't know if I mentioned this, when we first had our first batch of product, we sold out in like 90 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And then after that was 30 seconds. And we couldn't meet demand.
My goodness.
And that's not a good thing, because this is such an emotional product.
Yeah.
This is not a freaking lipstick. People ingest it. Women ingest it. And they also have... they might have a disease, et cetera. So like there has to be a ton of integrity there.
Yeah.
And when they couldn't get the product, a lot of people are like, congrats. And I'm like, you don't understand like how devastating that can be, because this can be hope for somebody. And it is for a lot of women. For me, it was my hope, right? It is my hope.
Yeah.
So when you can step back for a little bit and you realize that we both have this incredible opportunity of building a business that does good, you always want to talk about it, right? It's never negative. It's always, even if we have hard days. I've had a complicated experience with femininity, because you always meet mean girls in life. And I was always the new girl. And I went to many schools. I think I've gone to 12 schools.
Wow,
So,
that's hard.
yeah. It's, I learned resiliency, right? I didn't have a choice. But being the new girl, and having a lot of experiences also when you get older, you meet a lot of mean girls. And when you also don't look normal, they make fun of your appearance. And so I associated the color pink with just mean people. And I never wanted to wear pink, and I didn't want to look like them. And I also never had a fight with a boy. And I was like, oh, boys are just more chill, They never talk behind each other's backs and all these things. So I just gravitated towards men because I don't want to be hurt, you know? And it was just to protect myself. And I don't want to sound like a pick-me. And I'm like, I was always with dudes, right?
No, I gravitated towards like genuine, like only guy friends though, in terms of like nothing more to it. Like they were brothers.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's also like natural competitiveness to women. I have like very little friends.
No, yeah, me too. I only have one like close friend, because it's very hard to be friends with women. Yeah, that don't.
Yeah, it's competitive. And it's really sad, because, if they don't have something that grounds them,
it's hard. There's jealousy.
It's valuing material things. Exactly. Yeah. So if they don't have something that grounds them, like religion, spirituality, or they just have really good morals and ethics, I have a very hard time finding people like that.
Yeah.
And I have a very hard time not being disappointed by people later on. Like can't tell you how many friends I've made that at the end, I'll just tell you the story. I got really close to one person. I thought it was like the best friend I was always looking for. And now they're like launching their own hormone balance supplement. And I'm like, oh, you got close to me to learn. And
that is the worst feeling ever, is having someone get close to you and then just, I mean, I don't want to say like copying and pasting your life essentially, but like doing things like that while you were so close, it just feels, it hurts. It hurts. Even though it's like they took inspiration, you'll get more blessing because, you know, at the end of the day, you are spreading more awareness around these things for people to go and create. But it's like the person that got closest to you.
Absolutely. Exactly. And it's also because I really needed a friend, right? We need women. And femininity is so beautiful. And so I was just so devastated because I thought I finally had that, because women are just so powerful and intuitive and amazing. And it was just like, nope. Here we go again. But, you know, something that also happened as Milamend grew, there's so many copycats now, which is fine. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, you have to like go after them or et cetera. You have to do something. And I'm like, guys, I would, but the end product and the end result is just women are going to be helped, right? It's going to be able to reach more women, et cetera. And I've always thought it that way. And I truly believe in karma. And I believe that when somebody does something, again, like to solve a problem, not profit from one, people are so smart. And women, our intuition is our asset. But when it comes to work and femininity, and the way that I was able to become feminine again was definitely healing through my community. I was never this feminine. And also Lucas, like having a strong masculine energy does a lot of the work. Does a lot of it.
What is strong masculine energy now? Because I feel like it's very hard to, you know, is it just, because a lot of women would think it's more of just like provider in terms of like money, but sometimes it's also not that. So what is, I guess, what is your definition of?
So that's very funny because Lucas and I were a very modern couple. Not at all like that. From the beginning, we've always just been very equal. But it's safety. It's the feeling of safety. And knowing that no matter what, things are going to be okay because I know that he's always looking out for me, taking care of me. Always, he's an amazing gentleman. Always opening the car door, etc. Little things like that like really matter because they make you feel taken care of and they make you feel safe. But I'm kind of going on a tangent and I have to speak about it because I don't want to forget it.
No, go.
But there's this theory about PCOS and that we're always in our male energy. And that's why we produce more androgens.
Okay.
And so many women with PCOS have gone through childhood trauma or just trauma in general. And like I said, like when I was going through this traumatic financial situation and also coupled with grief, I went into like my boss woman energy. And I felt obviously probably not safe. And maybe I felt like I just had to act like a man and be strong. And it's again a theory that a lot of women say like, I've always felt not feminine. And no wonder now my body is acting that way. My ovaries are acting that way, right? But I think the most important thing when it comes to femininity for me is feeling safety. And that takes a lot of work and a lot of time. And it takes also the right person, right? It's like also what is a good partner? I don't think it has to be a male, anybody can have a partner that just helps them feel safer. And naturally, I believe you go more into your feminine energy. But I'd love to hear your take on it.
Do you think that it comes from only being in a relationship? Because I think that I feel like this part of my journey where I am focused on my career and focused on really healing, kind of like having this just like a dysregulated nervous system, right? That's kind of that's how I feel. I feel like on this like fight or flight mode a little bit. I am the provider of my life, but also I'm trying to like learn how to, I don't know if it's like feminine practices that you do more on a day-to-day basis that also have made you more feminine.
I totally understand what you're saying because for me, it was a bit of a mess. Because I did go more into my feminine in a relationship, but I definitely believe that you don't need a man to do these things. Again, like having that strong masculine energy can make it easier. Definitely.
I do think it's important to have, because do you think it only comes from a relationship though? Or do you think it could be
No.
a brother, a father figure, like not a father or like even... having some, because like I think of like maybe I have like management and they're always looking out for me when it comes to like certain things. So I don't know if that's the same though.
Like you've made a structure and you've put a structure in your life to make you safe. And I feel like that definitely helps you, come down to that beautiful energy that women have. Like when I'm in my feminine, I'm calm and I'm creative and I'm intuitive and I'm able to use these powers that we have, right? And I feel like when I started Milamend, I made a massive mistake. And I was like, okay, I need to know what CAC and LTV is. I need to be able to speak to my investors and write all these emails and do like what Lucas does, right? Yeah. And I need to be like the operator and I was so miserable.
I know, I tried to do the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was able, my content, which is massive lever of Milamend, started to go down because I wasn't able to get into the headspace where I had to communicate effectively. And we're also we're so good at being intuitive, but also understanding people and being empathetic. And I lost that because I went into my masculine energy because I thought that's like what a girl boss does. But I'm like, no, I can still be incredibly successful and helpful and useful doing what I do best and nurturing those things that are just so beautiful that come from femininity. But I think that there's incredible practices that you can do to make yourself feel safe. And definitely number one. And I tell this to everybody, you can take the best medication, you can have the best diet, you can sleep, you can take Milamend, you can do whatever. If your nervous system is not regulated, nothing's going to work. Or you're not going to get to that next level. And when your nervous system is regulated, you feel safe. And I'm sure that could have been a step that I could have taken. And I would have probably gotten to the same result. But again, the structure that you've built, and I'm sure that you do incredible practices through prayer that help you regulate your nervous system, improve your vagal tone, and you're able to just be Leana.
And what do you do for
what I used to do?
Is it meditation, prayer? Is there something that's really that speaks to you?
Having a startup has made, I go back to my videos in the beginning and I'm like, I can't believe I posted that. Like, that is so unrealistic. Because now it's like 100-hour work weeks, right? Again, I love it, but it is the reality.
Yeah.
So I try to keep things sustainable. Definitely breath work. But breath work for some people, again, like if you've gone through trauma, it can actually not be beneficial.
Okay.
There's like a time that you can do intensive breath work. Therapy is very important. Comedy is very important. I love to laugh.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need a good laugh and that's like enough for me to feel better and safe, right? But singing, when you sing and when you hum, it is medicine also for your body. So I always love to do these things that make me feel calm. And the most important thing that I've learned in my experience is communication. You have to talk things out.
Yeah.
And never assume.
That's hard. I used to struggle with assuming a lot.
It's the most dangerous thing.
Yeah. And I learned to not, even in faith, you're supposed to always assume with the best intentions, always, which is something that I had to shift, especially if you're like a negative thinker. I don't know if your parents, being from, different countries. And coming to America, I don't know if it's maybe because of the trauma that they've been through to come to a new country and stuff too. But sometimes, I don't know if it's apparent in yours, but it's very apparent in my family of going in with the first negative thought about something.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. My mom is so amazing. She's such a little angel. I tell people my mother is my daughter. So I really she's very special. And if you met her, you would understand what I'm saying. But she's the most optimistic person in the world.
Oh, wow.
Everybody around, no matter where we moved and what city, within some time, people would just know her. Yeah. Because she could befriend everybody. And she is just such an optimistic and positive person. And a lot of my mannerisms where I'm like this, and I'm just that's my mother. I learned that from her. So that has definitely helped me in the world tremendously to be optimistic. And that's why Lucas and I get along so well, because he's always thinking that somebody's going to screw him over. Okay. And I'm the opposite.
Okay, so maybe that's the Arab mindset as well. Arabs are very...
Yes. So definitely there's that yin yang. I'm a little bit more gullible.
Okay, well that's good. That's a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your mom, she's from Mexico and you grew up in between. Okay.
In Mexico until I was 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
And so I know... family's there. She's there now.
Okay. She's in Mexico now.
My whole family went back.
What?
Yeah.
What part?
Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I need to go to Mexico City. I have obviously I have so many of my audience members there that live in Mexico City.
She told me that. That's so special.
Yeah. Do you go back ever?
Rarely. Last time I was there, it was to launch Hibiscus. We had an entire community event planned. We like rented out 3 beautiful places. We got piñatas.
Oh my God.
And 2 days before the launch, like I made hibiscus tea because it's agua de Jamaica. It's our national like tea.
Yeah. Is that where you got the inspiration from?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I was like doing it back to my home country. I'm like, okay, one thing about Mexican women is that they're the most supportive people in the world.
They're so supportive.
Yeah. So
Like nothing. Yeah. So supportive. It's actually insane the amount of love. Like even after my transformation, even if they don't practice the same faith, it's like they still support you.
They're amazing. So I mean, the flavor was literally for them. And obviously like the nostalgic flavor of hibiscus tea. And it's also like in many, many cultures, it's a very national tea. It was all for them. 2 days before the launch, they let us know that the product cannot come in the country.
Oh my goodness.
Because they needed more papers. They wanted to know ridiculous things that were just not normal. Like they were asking us for things that were just not a requirement. And unfortunately, we couldn't do anything. And so that was scrapped. And so I've always had like this hole in me because I'm a Mexican founder who can't even get the product in Mexico. But we're still working on it. And it's taken 2 years. Like we started before the official launch of Milamend and we're still not there. We're going to get there. But I love them. I love them. Yeah. They're amazing. Yeah.
And so you grew up, I guess, like in terms of, because you went to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in a household where like both of your parents were Catholic or?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. If you're in Mexico, like it's very normal to be Roman Catholic. Like ultra Catholic. Okay. And there's a lot of religious families. My mom is very religious or was very religious. And my father was very relaxed. But definitely like religion is very integral to any celebration in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And as I was growing up, I always had a really good relationship with God and religion in general. I loved going to church. And I always thought of religion as just like a philosophy lesson. And I love philosophy. And I love the questions of like the universe. And I loved how to be like, for me, your thoughts and your experiences are like the only thing you leave with in this world. And I love to learn. And I'm very optimistic. So I always think that everybody is just born good. And so I love people. And I have so much love like since I was little. But there's not always good actors in every community. And when I went to my Catholic school, I had a really bad relationship with going to mass and going to pray because it was like on a foundation of like punishment. And I didn't have good teachers. They were very scary. And when your teacher is a nun and you have health issues and she's not supporting you. And in fact, when you leave class to go to the hospital to go get your immunotherapy and your friend tells you that she was making fun of you with the class, you start to just see nuns as like bad people, right? But I was young.
Yeah.
So I just like assimilated that to just like a very dark time in my life. And it kind of drew me away. And then I just went to university. I continued on when this period of grief happened with Lucas's father, that we lost him in a very disturbing way. As in, people messed up when they were supposed to take care of him.
May God rest his soul.
Yeah. It's, you really get angry at God. And then the bankruptcy or the financial stress in my family, and then my parents separating, and then, my sister and my brother, like all of this suffering that started to happen. I was like, man, why did I go to church? And I started to just have no faith. I started to have, obviously it's so natural, right? Like you lose your belief in everything. I never lost my belief in God. That's impossible. But I was angry. And it's funny that you asked me this question because in the past 6 months, I've had this ridiculous hunger to get back into church or to get back into prayer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's so necessary. When all this hell was happening to me and just bad things after another, like I had friends that were like, you need to do like an egg cleanse. Like you need to like, you have some evil eye or somebody like has a voodoo doll of you or something.
Yeah.
I was very angry. But now in retrospect, it's bittersweet because obviously I would have never wanted this to happen. But I tell Lucas all the time, that situation made us so strong. And it has helped me be more empathetic. it's given me purpose. You know, also like the septic infection and all of these things. I didn't understand what was going on back then, but it is the best thing that could have ever happened to me, obviously. So I believe that it was in my destiny. I wish I would have had like the strength to just, you know, not lose my faith and do all of these things, but I think it was natural. And so it's the next part of my journey, you know, getting closer to spirituality, because it's so important. Like, if you don't have that, then why do you get up? You know, you need to have faith and hope in order to get through life, because there's going to be more bad moments than good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, going through, because I went through kind of like not a similar experience with like, obviously you kind of tied nuns to, you know, harsh women, but that doesn't represent the religion, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of what I was approached with when it came to culture.
Yeah.
I felt like women were placed with like more expectations, and it wasn't fair. It didn't feel equal. And then I had to like kind of find my own route. For people that like listen, that kind of have had a similar experience, how are you kind of healing through that?
Inequality?
Yeah.
Also like in women's health.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Speaking on this mic.
Yeah.
You know, fighting women like you. This is what everybody, like, just awareness is everything. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And helping women understand the world through a different lens, because perspective is everything. And if you've only grown up with one perspective, it can be very difficult to be hopeful. But if you see other women and you enter into their mindset and they show you a different lens, that can change your life.
Yeah.
So it's just that. And, you know, finding this community of women, which is the beauty of social media. Like, we have this device so we can connect with anybody in the world. We can build businesses from it. We can do everything, and we can also heal. And it's so powerful. That's the one good thing about social media.
Yeah. It does have its pros and cons for sure, but it's more pros always.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to come back to acne because because we actually went through a similar journey. Obviously, you have PCOS, and that's kind of where it stemmed from. But do you believe that like acne can also be, you know, the things that you put onto your skin? Obviously, we kind of went through like a same face reality, like
it's so funny,
learning about like clean skincare, pore clogging ingredients in products.
Yeah.
What is your approach now with skin? Because I tried to like, after trying to heal my gut, I'm still not perfect, cutting out things of my diet.
Yeah.
I definitely want to lean into that, because I feel like I have a lot of, I'm sure you do too, that still struggle with acne sometimes. And it's like,
I don't know if you've seen my stories. I have rosacea now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a magnet.
Yeah.
Every week something happens. Knock on wood. No, my approach to skincare. So I went on Face Reality when I got my Mirena IUD, because the synthetic progesterone and having like very high levels of it, a lot of doctors don't believe that you can have side effects from it because it's like local. I had the worst acne breakout of my life. And that's when I realized, no. Like, my derms are not helping me. These creams are drying me out, and they never really like give you proper protocol, and they don't guide you through it. And so I found Face Reality, and I would go to like McKinney. I found this like incredible woman that scared me so much. She's like, if you don't do these things, I will know, and I will kick you out of my program, because I have kids that need help.
And this was an esthetician or a dermatologist?
An esthetician of Face Reality.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, amazing. I'm going to go into the acne boot camp. She taught me about like how certain hormonal birth control can actually flare acne. And, you know, you get like the packet. They talk to you about like all these foods that you should try or consider cutting out. And I went through the boot camp with the facials, the extractions. I went on mandelic acid. I learned about gentle cleansers, toners, hydration, benzoyl peroxide. My baby.
Yeah.
I cannot live without benzoyl peroxide. I'm actually on it now for, I took a break from it because I thought I had like perioral dermatitis.
Okay.
Because I got too many like free product.
Okay.
Destroyed my skin.
Trying out just different things.
I wish I never did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because acne, we think that like our skin is strong because we produce more oil, etc. And it's actually very sensitive too, and it's reactive. Learned my lesson. But yeah, so I still use that for rosacea. But when it comes to acne, I've heard a lot of people say great pointers. So obviously when it, like, clean skincare can also be irritating. essential oils can be irritating. So you want to find what works best for your skin. Acids, everybody has like their own opinion.
Yeah. And acids are the mandelics, benzoyl peroxide, right?
Salicylic acid, etc.
Yeah.
Salicylic acid, I can't tolerate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My skin reacts immediately. Niacinamide, allergy, right? But that's not an acid. But I started to like learn about which acids were right for my skin. And unfortunately, benzoyl peroxide is not like the cleanest, but it's the only thing that helps me and manages, all of this comedogenic acne or pimples, etc., and even my rosacea.
Yeah.
So you have to find that fine dance between finding having a cleaner routine, but also realizing, if you're on podcasts or you film and you do these things, sometimes you just need to have a stronger protocol, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But when it comes to routines, the smaller the better. And I forgot her name. I feel so bad. She's like popping off. She's like all over TikTok. She has this amazing skincare company.
Clearstone?
Do
you?
I
don't know.
She's amazing.
Do you know her name?
No, I'm blanking.
Okay.
She's French. She's also French.
Oh,
if she's French.
Yeah. You're in Switzerland now too. I'm sure you're like learning more about skincare.
No, I'm not. No. I wish.
You're not in Switzerland?
Yeah. But you're in the Italian part of Switzerland.
You're in the Italian part of Switzerland?
You've never heard of that? Me neither. I was like, what? You speak Italian in Lugano? I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's an Italian part of it's a national language.
Okay, wow.
Crazy. I know. But either way, she said something on a live that I was like, I just went into like this little masterclass. She was speaking and she said the more products you have, the more preservatives and fragrances that you're introducing to your skin, because every product has to be perfect or marketable. And people forget those things. You're introducing all of these ingredients that make all these products shelf life stable or make them smell delicious. So you want to put them on more. Yeah. And for sensitive and reactive skin, that's not ideal. So now my philosophy is super gentle. Rosacea, I believe I developed it with like my gallbladder issue because there's like a connection, but also overhydrating and listening to influencers. I went to Japan for a honeymoon and I started to get so excited with all these masks. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to look like glass skin, like all this like Japanese and Korean beauty. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to look amazing for like our anniversary date photo because like whatever. The third day, my skin is flaring up. I gave myself folliculitis because overhydration can cause that. So it was too occlusive. And I thought I was doing the right things because that's what influencers said. And they're like, oh my God, if you come to Japan, you have to buy this. So I can't even go to medications. I can't do all these things. Like I'm such a sensitive and reactive body. Yeah. So my philosophy is less is more.
Because I struggle with acne and honestly, like even on body acne, right? When I started to get laser, because I am also a very hairy individual. Like I hate saying that out loud. Yeah. So I literally get laser everywhere. And I was like, because every time I would shave, I get such bad ingrowns, razor burn, and to the point where I just, even one day later, my hair would come back like instantly. And then it would cause reactions everywhere, all on my body. And then like, I saw that you use like, I don't know if you still use it, Panoxy, like the Panoxyl.
Yeah, Panoxyl. So that's like benzoyl peroxide, but I have a great tip. So a lot of women with PCOS or hormonal disorders, they might have HS. I'm going to butcher the first name. It's hidradenitis suppurativa.
Okay.
And I can't really define the disease because I don't have it, but it can create boils under the skin or like abscesses in the skin, and it's very painful.
Okay.
And I started to have boils on my butt because of androgens. Spironolactone like took that away from me. But like I started to have like butt acne that was really painful, and I would have like boils, and I'm like, and like I have scars all over my butt. Like another insecurity, right?
Yeah.
Shorts at the beach. Great. It is what it is. But I did like this deep dive, and this amazing ingredient that you can find at any pharmacy, Hypocleanse.
Hypocleanse.
Yes, it's an antibacterial gel or cream or formula that you put it on your body, and it stays on your body for like 24 hours, I believe, and it kills off bacteria And they usually give that to you before like a surgery.
Okay.
So you come to the operation clean. Maybe they use it in surgery. Again, I don't know like why they built it, but I just knew that if I picked that up, it would definitely help. And it really helped with my body acne, with my folliculitis and ingrown hairs. And I remember I would just like put a little bit and like take a bath in it. I don't know if that's the proper way to do it, but that's like the tip that I read online.
Yeah.
And you don't want to use it too often because there's good bacteria on your skin, of course, and you don't want to build a tolerance. But I love Hybe Cleanse if I have like, an issue going on, or if it's just body acne, Penoxyl. And if my body's doing well, I try to use like barely any body soap, like the gentlest or like the thing that has the least ingredients, because the moment I also introduced fancy body washes, my skin reacted.
Yeah, same.
So it's
the
less
simple
is more.
thing. Yep.
Yeah.
And BHAs, AHAs, do you use any? Because I started using like a BHA, AHA wash. I mean, I don't know if you use any stuff like that.
It dries me out.
Yeah.
And I don't need it right now. But if I did, I would probably talk about it one day. But I love my benzoyl peroxide. It's so strong.
It is good.
It's great.
Okay, so when it comes to being a woman and going through all these things, and we talked a little bit about like social media, it can be a good place and like a negative place. And I think it starts to also, when you start becoming more feminine, caring about yourself, you then start to compare a little bit of like, should I get a little bit of Botox or like lip filler, or you're constantly looking at beauty online. Again, trying so many different things that you don't even need. And you said something, you were sitting on a rock. This was in one of your videos, your YouTube videos. And I love the way that you just like look at, nature, at life. And you do have such an optimistic mindset and like so much positivity. And you were seeing like the textures of the rocks, and you're like, as we age, like this is how we are supposed to look as humans. Like we are supposed to go through these things. Where did you even come up with this like mindset? And like, how do you even like remind yourself sometimes? Because even you being a model before and like, being kind of essentially defined how you like your worth is how you look. So it's like, how are you coming back to like, I love who I am. Like, how are you feeling confident in yourself always?
I would love to say like, oh, because I'm a philosopher, right? Like, and I know this came out of me. No, it's experience. And as a model, I met really beautiful women, and also very famous, beautiful women that I would just like see backstage. And some were great and some were not as kind. And I realized very quickly, oh my God, beauty means nothing. It means nothing. Personality really is everything. And so I started to see that the world from that lens. And then I was in Paris. And I remember why I made this video was because of one woman that I met. It was the mother of one of Lucas's friends, who's an artist. And we went to go see like her show in a gallery and to go support. I'd never met the both of them. And we're in the street, and this woman just like walks up, catches me by surprise. And she's not wearing designer clothes. There's no logos. She's just like an artist, right? Her hair is like beautiful, curly, a little bit frizzy, but she doesn't care. It's hot. It's Paris. And it's the most breathtaking, beautiful woman that I've ever seen. And she had a wrinkle in every side of her face. Like you knew she never put on SPF or like whatever. Maybe she did. But the intensity behind her eyes, her presence, and the way she just... I still remember her. I have her stuck in my head. And like, it was just like, for her, it was like, yeah, meeting this girl, whatever. But for me, I'm like, this is the representation of beauty. And it shocked me to my core. I'm like, it's funny because her wrinkles were beautiful. And it was like lining her smile. And she had such a big smile. And she was just so sweet. And you could tell how many times she had smiled, right? And I'm like, oh my God, to think that I want to look like this. Like, I know. And it was, again, experience and meeting a beautiful, beautiful, powerful woman. And she kind of just, she became a reference to me of something I felt. And again, like you don't leave the world with anything material. You leave with your experiences and your memories. And that was a profound memory for me. So then, you look at all these incredible accounts that post so much body positivity, and they compare our stretch marks to like when you cut a tree and you see inside the tree, they look identical. And you see our patterns on our body in nature.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are we trying to look like children? That's not natural. It's not. And I've thought about Botox. So a lot of people actually think I have Botox because I don't move my forehead. I have actually a very weak muscle. Because for the first 2 years that I was building my account, when you watch yourself on like the selfie mode, you don't move your forehead.
Yeah.
And so I stopped moving because I would be recording all day.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, yeah, I don't move it. But I read somewhere that if you put Botox on your forehead, you can like close your third eye or your intuition. And I'm like, no, that's my superpower. Like that is my thing. Like, and it helps me every single day. So I haven't done that yet. If I ever did Botox or fillers, I would obviously be transparent about it, but it doesn't draw me. iPhone face doesn't draw me. I see beautiful women on my feed all the time and I say good for them, but beauty standards are so different. One thing I have to say, when I had moon face and I post all these videos of like before and after, I get people that say all the time, I prefer your before. In my country and in my culture, rounder faces and like chubbier your cheeks are beauty. And I go, there you go. Yeah. Your community heals you. Travel heals you.
Yeah.
Being more cultured heals you. When you get out of the bubble that we've created in the US and the bubble of Instagram, you heal, you detox.
It's a different life. Yeah.
Exactly. And so definitely that beautiful woman I met and having the privilege to travel around the world and also having the privilege to have a community that teaches me also about their beliefs is very beautiful.
Your relationship with music.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Gossip.
Did you ever want to be a singer? Have you touched on this before in your YouTube videos? I mean, I know you said something about like the connection that you have with music, but you didn't pursue it or.
Yeah, I was not allowed. And so when you have a talent or a skill that you want to share with the world, but you're not allowed to do that, you move on. And I remember, it's a difficult conversation because I definitely understand why my parents didn't let me. Like my dad was like, don't tell anybody you sing. Because I had a cousin of mine that wanted to be a singer.
Okay.
And she didn't know how to sing. She couldn't sing. But for some reason, my dad knew that it would make her feel bad to hear me sing. And he just wanted to keep harmony in the family because we were very close to them. And in a way, I wish he never did that. And nowadays I tell him, like, Dad, I can't believe you did that to me. You're terrible, right? And he goes, there's no way I did that. And all this time, like, I'm sure he made that decision for some reason, right? And he probably didn't think it was so important to me. I don't know. He's probably listening to this. He's like, I'm going to cry. No, but he also protected me from the world of music.
Of course. I mean, the music industry is definitely, there's a good space and then there's also
tough.
A dark space. Yeah, my best friend gave up music as well. And like,
there you go.
Yeah, but.
Yeah. And my grandma, she like married a very famous film producer in Hollywood before she married my grandfather, right? She knew Hollywood really well. She married Vincent Minnelli.
I don't know if
do you know Liza Minnelli?
Maybe if I see a picture. I'm not good with faces.
It's okay.
What are they known for?
So Vincent Minnelli, he made the Wizards of Oz.
Oh, wow.
He's like an amazing director. And Liza Minnelli is the daughter of Judy Garland. And she's an amazing person. I've met her multiple times, like at family gatherings before. I haven't seen her in a long time. But my grandma knew that industry very well. They got divorced, it didn't work out, etc. But they knew it very well. And it's a very sad industry. So I know that my dad was just trying to protect me, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough because when you're in the spotlight, there's scrutiny and it's very difficult to have a strong mental health. And also, as we all know, and artists are now speaking up, sometimes you sign deals that are not in your favor.
Right.
And that's really tough.
Yeah.
Independence is everything. And I remember like when I was starting out Milamend, there were so many companies that were like asking me, hey, we'll produce it for you, white label, et cetera. And I'm like, no. I want to have all this independence. And also a lot of people are like, why are you raising from venture capital? That's like the worst thing you can do. And I'm like, no. There are ways to still keep your independence and still keep integrity in what you do. And you have to be aware of that and protect it. So I don't think I don't know what it would have been. I think it's foolish of me to even like think about what could have been, because I definitely think Milamend was so much more in my destiny.
No, of course. It seems like it was just like placed by God at the right time. Like it was, yeah.
Yeah, it got me through. Singing got me through tough times in my childhood. Oh. It's healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned shamans, okay?
Yeah.
I actually like used to listen to a podcast who used to be a shaman.
Nice.
And I guess like in our culture, and like, I think it's more Arab culture, and maybe like I'm sure your husband, like it's Hispanic culture too, right? Arabs, they all believe in like kind of evil eye, all these kind of, do you believe it's like superstitious practices in a way? Do you like, because I truly believe in like praying for protection and like making sure that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or like, do you believe in like not speaking out things too soon in existence because you're like afraid of like people giving you, you know, like bad energy a little bit? Like, are you very aware of these things of like when you do have friends, are you waiting to, you know, reveal some things that like you're working on, for example?
I'm incredibly superstitious. Crazy things that happened to me in my life. And we can talk about that like for a long time. But there are just things that cannot be explained that happened to us. I'm sure everybody listening has probably had like an experience with it, like that was supernatural.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the world is much more complex than just science. Yeah. I do believe in spirituality. I do believe in protection. And I do believe in karma. I do believe there's like beautiful things in every single religion and in every culture that I just take it, right? Because it's the thought there. Yeah. It's the same commonality. And I do believe that you have to be careful with what you say, because now in my experience, I've been foolish enough to think that other people have good intentions, right? And that's not the case. So I wish I had a better answer. Yeah. I'm sure that shaman that you listened to had a better
No, I was just like, so, because you mentioned shaman and like it's big in your culture. Because like, I didn't know it was big in Hispanic culture. Oh, yeah. Is it like only in Mexico or no?
No, more. I think that there's like even shamans in like forests in Costa Rica and in Brazil, or I don't.
Okay, because because like my mom is from Uruguay.
Thing.
Yeah, because I never like really knew that it was big in like Hispanic culture. So yeah.
I mean, now like everybody's in Tulum and everybody wants to meet.
I guess that's true, right? Yeah.
So there's like commercial use of it. No, but yes, yeah.
I don't know if I missed anything, but honestly, I always ask every single guest at the end of my podcast what it means to be human.
My answer is not going to make sense because it's so unrealistic to be optimistic in a world where we live in today, and everything, you know, you turn on the news and it's just devastating. But I truly believe in one thing, which is learning as much as you can and having as many beautiful experiences as you can and helping others. Because like I probably mentioned this multiple times, you only leave the world with your experiences and nothing material. And I used to read a lot of philosophy growing up. I don't know if it was like Aristotle or Plato or maybe metaphysics, but somewhere along the line, one thing stuck with me is that the soul is ever knowing. You don't learn anything, like it's just within you already. So for me, I'm just so mesmerized and amazed by hoping that every single day I uncover something that my soul knows. And towards the end of my life, I've uncovered enough. And with that knowledge, I've been able to help others do the same. So I'm a big nerd. I love learning. So it's that journey and seeing how far I can get. That's my goal. And that's what I think the human experience is, right?
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. And
thank you for
where can
having
people find you? Is there anything new coming in the works? Obviously, we have the Milamend packets coming out.
We are coming out with a new peach tea flavor.
Ooh, peach tea.
Yes.
Okay.
So obviously, because, you know, summer's coming, etc. But I'm like, I have to do something like that because I grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just a staple and it's so good. But you can find me on Mila Magnani anywhere, TikTok, Instagram. Or if you want to shop Milamend, milamend.com. On Instagram, it's Milamend Health. We have yet to get just Milamend, right? That's a process. But for me, the most incredible part of now finishing the first official year of business is that we survived as a startup. You know, we did it.
Yeah.
And those were the grueling 100-hour weeks. And unfortunately, I had to like kind of step away from my YouTube and step away from quality content. Because if I'm going to sit in front of a camera and have people give me their time, you know, my girls take their time to watch me.
Yeah.
I want to be 100% there. So my next step is definitely spending more time with them. And
you should. I learned so much from you on
Really?
YouTube. And even if you are someone who's trying to figure out like if you have PCOS or like on the journey, definitely still watch your old videos because I found so much joy in watching them.
Thank you so much.
And so Instagram at Mila
Magnani.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Leana.
Thank you.
I can't wait to watch the rest of your podcast. I know it's going to be brilliant. You're such a good host.
Thank you.
You should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you.
So good.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much.